New York Giants week number 10 game preview. Honestly, probably the biggest Giants game of the year so far because this is kind of a game where they have a bye next week, as we know. If they win this game, their playoff hopes are alive. I don't think it's great, but they're alive. If they lose this game, a lot of people, I don't know if I will, but a lot of fans will probably start looking to the draft and even next year because going 2-8 and now being even more games behind the Eagles and going 0-2 against them for the year, probably not going to make the playoffs at that point unless Philly has this epic collapse and the Giants go on a nice run, which I probably don't see happening. So the Giants, in my opinion, have to win this game and probably the next one against the Bengals as well to have a chance to make the playoffs. But with that being said, it is mid-November and the Giants have a chance to make the playoffs, which is all we can ask for. So I'm pretty happy about that. Am I happy with 2-7? Not really, and we only beat Washington, so that's not too good. But the fact that we're alive and playing in a bad division is, it leaves some optimism. So that's definitely a good thing. But this will be an interesting game, and I think it'll be a very close one, and I will be the optimistic Giants fan this week. I will have us winning this game. We'll get into the whole score prediction later, but I feel good about this team. I feel really good about the coaches. I feel like we still have a lot to work on with the roster and talent-wise, but I'm very satisfied with the coaches, and it does scare me that the Eagles are coming off a bye. That's never a good thing to me because they have, obviously, more healthy bodies. They have a lot of guys playing this game. I saw it before. Actually, I'll pull up the tweet real quick, but they basically have a full roster here. Miles Sanders is going to return. There was a bunch of other guys playing for this team as well. Of course, now I can't find it, but the Eagles had a bunch of guys that are going to play this game. A lot of guys that were hurt the past couple weeks are now coming back healthy. I think Lane Johnson, Malik Jackson, I'm trying to think who else was there. Zach Ertz is still out. Dallas Goedert's back. He came back last 2 weeks ago, but he's back in full now. So there probably is someone else, but they are healthy is what I'm trying to get at here. So not good for the Giants, but I mean, if you're going to beat a team, try and beat them at full strength. I mean, still the Eagles have some injuries, and then Zach Ertz is a big loss. Deshaun Jackson as well. And same with the Giants. They have their big injuries with McKinney, who's still out. Hopefully he comes back soon, and of course Saquon Barkley. But we'll get into this game here. So we'll start with the Giants offense real quick. So the offensive line is trending upwards. We can definitely say that for sure. And I think, as the entertainer said in our video, ever since that second quarter, I would say, of that Rams game, probably 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, the offensive line has seemed to be getting better every week. Now, it's not flawless. There's still some flaws with this offensive line, and Daniel Jones was sacked 5 times last week. I said there has to be context to that because I don't blame that all on the offensive line. A lot of trick plays and long developing plays that definitely help contribute to that number, but at the same time, the offensive line's looking better. They played really well against Tampa Bay, who has one of the best front sevens in football. I would say top 3 in my opinion. Then they play Washington, the front 7, who is definitely a top 10. I would say maybe even top 5. They did really well against them, in my opinion. They ran the ball really well too. So now they play a Philadelphia front 7, which is not that great. Their front 4 is pretty good. I think their linebackers aren't great. So the Giants can definitely do well offensive line-wise in this game. So I'm pretty excited about that, and hopefully if they continue to improve, the offensive line will be fine in this game. Now, Will Hernandez is supposed to come back this game with the COVID stuff, so he should be back. Now, Joe Judge had some interesting quotes about that. He expects there to be this offensive line rotation still, and even mentioned that Shane Lemieux should probably get ready to see some reps at right guard, meaning that Kevin Zeitler might be swapped out on some plays to get Shane Lemieux in there. So Shane Lemieux is not going to be on the bench 100% of the time like he like he used to. He's earned himself some playing time, but it will not be as a full-time starter with Will Hernandez back, which I guess is fine. I kind of want to see Will Hernandez in there. He was playing well until he got COVID, so that was good. But hopefully he comes back and doesn't look bad. Will Hernandez, I hope he's okay, but he should be back this week, honestly. So Daniel Jones, can he have no turnovers again? Like last week was a game where he had no turnovers, which we know as Giants fans is pretty rare. The chances of him doing it twice in a row are probably not likely, but if he can do that, then I like the Giants' chances even more of winning this game. I think Jones will probably have an interception in there at some point, but just don't do it multiple times. I don't expect you to be perfect, but don't throw the 2 or 3 bad interceptions and have the bad fumble as well. Try to limit it to 1 turnover. I'm not asking for too much. Just don't lose us the game, basically. So Philadelphia's defense, they allow 130.8 rushing yards per game, so you can run on them. The Giants have done a good job running the ball recently. There was news that came out today, I think it was today, that Devontae Freeman re-injured his ankle basically, so now he's on IR, out for the next 3 weeks. So it'll be back to Wayne Gallman, Alfred Morris, Deion Lewis. Those guys will be handling the carries for the Giants, mainly Morris and Gallman. So if they can just continue to do the same success with the run game that they have the past couple weeks, and once again against really good front sevens, then I think the run game should be fine here. It would be better if they had Freeman, I can admit that, but even if they have just, if they have Wayne Gallman and Alfred Morris, I still think they'll be fine here. So now we're on to Philly's pass defense. They've been pretty good this year. They are 4th best in yards per game allowed passing-wise to quarterbacks this year, so that's definitely not good for us. And, coming into the year, I know they got Darius Slay at cornerback, which is great, but I didn't really have the highest expectations for the Eagles secondary, but they've been good this year, so you got to give credit where credit is due when you have to kind of change your mindset throughout the year. They're playing well, so I changed my mindset. The Eagles now have a pretty good secondary, it seems like. So, Golden Tate, big talking point about the Giants recently. Golden Tate came out and apologized. He takes full responsibility for what he did, and damn well he should. But he's now questionable, I believe, with a knee injury that happened in practice, and as I mentioned, Devontae Freeman to IR. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't want Golden Tate to come back and be a full-time wide receiver 3. I want them to play guys like Austin Mack. We get Dante Pettis, I believe, on the roster now. They waived Corey Ballantyne for him if you didn't see that, but Corey Ballantyne's gone. So now it's Dante Pettis. I hope those guys, Mack and Pettis, play over Golden Tate. We'll see what happens, but I really hope that's the case because I'd rather see those guys improve because they have a future here. I don't see Golden Tate having a future here. So on to the Giants defense. Who is the cornerback 2 against Travis Fulgham or Alshon Jeffrey? Jeffrey's another guy who returns. I forgot to mention him earlier, but he returns from injury here. So the Giants cornerback 2, I don't know what's going to happen because Isaac Yiadom apparently has a new injury, so that's not good. Ryan Lewis is still out, I believe. And I think they promoted, I'm going to forget the guy's name. I have it written down somewhere. I had it on Twitter somewhere, but now I forget. It is what's his name? Montre Hartage. I think he was an undrafted guy from Northwestern. So I watched a little bit of him. He's not the best athlete, but his technique is pretty good, it seemed like, on tape, and that was highlights, so maybe he's not good. But I guess he's not the worst guy in the world. Definitely not the answer at cornerback 2 probably, but if he can step in and have just one good game, that would mean a lot to me. So hopefully he can do that. But the Eagles, they have some scary receivers. Of course, Travis Fulgham, who I mentioned, has been great. Alshon Jeffrey, who's had a nice career with Chicago and even the Eagles for a couple years, has had a nice career. They have guys like Greg Ward, Jalen Reagor, who's a good first-round pick. I mean, he's a guy that might kill us, honestly. We'll see. But I think he's a slot receiver. He'll play against Darnay Holmes a lot, and Darnay Holmes will have a tough task against another rookie, so we'll see what happens there. So no Zach Ertz, who's the good tight end for the Eagles, of course, but Miles Sanders, their good running back, will return for this game, so that's bad news for us. But hey, maybe that's good news because Boston Scott is a god against the Giants, and Miles Sanders, while he's good against other teams, I feel like doesn't really murder the Giants in the same way that Boston Scott does. So now that I said that, I'm sure Miles Sanders will go off. But still, I mean, Boston Scott has a track record the past 3 times against the Giants of being really good against them. So, hopefully we don't see him as much. Philly's offensive line, they rank 31st in pass blocking. Now, if you watch the Eagles play, I mean, I don't watch every Eagles game, but when they're on red zone, when they're on prime time, you've always noticed that Carson Wentz has just about no time to throw when he's running for his life and ducking under people and holding onto the ball for too long because that's what Carson Wentz does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but the guy loves to extend plays, and sometimes when you extend plays, it works out very well for your offense, but sometimes when you extend plays, it gives you more motivation to make a stupid decision and make a bad throw. There will be opportunities for the Giants defense to make plays in this game and create turnovers. Now, Carson Wentz could have that game where he plays out of his mind and throws for 350 yards and a couple touchdowns with no turnovers. Definitely in the cards because I think he's a very talented quarterback, but Carson Wentz can also make a lot of mistakes, and hopefully this is a game where he can do that. So the Giants, based on how bad their offensive line, pass blocking is, has to get some pressure. And, can guys like Jabal Sheard, can guys like Kyler Fackrell, Leonard Williams, who's been doing it all year, can those guys get consistent pressure and make plays? Hopefully they do. So Tate Crowder, my man, he's going to return this game. It seems like, as long as he has looks healthy in the pregame warmups and things like that, he should be okay. He's off the IR now, so hopefully he plays next to Blake Martinez majority of snaps. I mean, it's not like Devontae Downs Mullins has been terrible recently, and David Mayo hasn't really done anything great. But I prefer to see Tate Crowder because you guys know I love that guy. So hopefully he gets to play in this game. Dexter Lawrence, Kyler Fackrell, they have not really showed up too much the past couple weeks, and Kyler Fackrell's had about 4 games in a row where he's not really shown up. So hopefully those two guys can actually come out and make a pretty solid contribution in this game, which is what I hope. So we'll see. I don't expect Lawrence to get a bunch of sacks here, obviously, but just keep Miles Sanders in check, please. Keep that middle of the offensive line stuffed for Miles Sanders so he can't get through. And Kyler Fackrell, maybe get a sack in there, maybe 2 sacks, maybe get a fumble, some pressures. I will take that from you, Kyler Fackrell. So please help us there. So the Giants need everything they can get on defense. I know Philly's not the best team, but I still respect them because they have talented pieces, and they're a very injured team, and now they're getting a lot healthier. Of course, they're not going to have some guys that are out for a while, like their left tackle, Andre Dillard. Honestly, Jason Peters is back. That's another one I'm forgetting. So as the video goes on, I remember more and more Eagles players that return from injury. So their left tackle, Jason Peters, guy gets hurt all the time, but when he plays, he's still a very solid left tackle. So Dillard's out, their left tackle, as we know, for the year. Brandon Brooks is out for the year. Zach Ertz is out, probably till the end of the year. So, we're facing a team that's injured, but not crazy injured. They're getting guys back, and I still think the Eagles are going to set up for a nice second half run. And even as a Giants fan, if you ask me who do I think is going to win the NFC East this year, I still think the Eagles are going to win, but I'm going to be optimistic and say the Giants win this game. So here would be the standings if the Giants won this game. Philly would be 3-5-1, and they would be 2-2 in the division. That's what the 2-2 means there. The Giants would be 3-7, but 3-2 in the division. So the Giants would be a game and a half out of first place, but they also have the better division record. Now, as Chris, the entertainer, brought to my attention, unless the Giants tie this year, which probably won't happen, you can't predict ties, it's very rare. Unless the Giants tie this year, it's not going to matter about division record, because once you have that half game difference of having a tie, it really doesn't matter. Like, one team's going to have 6 wins or 7 wins or 5 wins or 6, and you're going to know who's going to win the division based on that record. I don't think tiebreakers will really matter here for the Eagles and Giants. So my score prediction for this game will be 26-23. I have the Giants taking it. Now, the spread had it as the Eagles favored by 3.5 is the last time I looked. It could have changed, honestly. I don't know. But the books have the Eagles winning this game. And you know what? If I was let's say I was a Buffalo Bills fan, I might look at this and say, I probably would say the Eagles would win this game. But I just want to be the optimistic Giants fan and be like, you know what? We're playing well. We're in every game. And the Eagles aren't the best team we faced recently. I think the Buccaneers are a much better team. The Rams are a better team. Who else have we played that's better? I don't know. We've played better teams, though, is what I'm getting at. So I think there's a chance. It's like, obviously we don't beat the Eagles too much. And as I said, if I was a fan of a different team, I might pick the Eagles here. But I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say the Giants win this game. I'm going to say we get a game and a half out of this division. And yeah, hopefully we finally find a way to beat the Eagles. And as I think someone was saying this to me, but even if they just find a way to win this game, take the division out of it, take the playoffs out of it, just for their mental psyche, just to beat the Eagles, a team that they can't beat. And I know a lot of these guys haven't been here for a long time. The longest tenured Giant is Sterling Shepard from 2016 at this point. But it would just do a lot for their mental state, because they cannot beat this Eagle team. They can't even beat the Cowboys either, but hopefully we beat them later in the year. But for their mental state, hopefully they find a way to beat this Eagles team that seems unbeatable, because the Giants, the last couple times they played them, they had that 10-point lead or whatever, 11-point lead with 4 minutes left. They blew it. Of course, we know that game from Thursday. Evan Engram dropped the ball. And then last year, they had that game in Philadelphia when Eli Manning was starting. They were up 14-0 at halftime. Things were looking great, and then they lost in overtime. So the Giants, while they look good against the Eagles sometimes, never close out the game. Actually, no, the last time they played was last year, was a Week 17 game, and the Eagles beat us in the rain pretty easily. So, okay, but, 3 of the past 4 games we've played Philadelphia, very close matchups. So I think this will be a close one once again. I don't see the Giants getting blown out, but hopefully this team finally finds a way to pull out a game and pull out a win against a team not named the Washington Football Team or the Washington R-Words. So hopefully we find a way here. But I will talk to you guys after the game. Thank you for watching. Leave in the comments your prediction for this game, and I'll talk to you guys next time.